I'm joined by Councilman Ed Reyes. We will be joined shortly, hopefully by Councilwoman Jan Perry. In the interim period, if we go through the files and complete before Ms. Perry gets here, everything that we discussed today will go forward with a recommendation from the, not from the committee, but from the chair of the committee, which is the council rules, which means you'll have a second opportunity at the council to have another public hearing before the full city council when it goes forward. Also, we have the ability, acting as a committee of two at least, to request of the fire department to go back and look at certain elements if we feel you've presented something that we want further clarification on. And historically, we'll do that a few cases every year. So, what we're going to hear item 1, which is all we have on today's agenda. Your real responsibility, you have a few minutes to come up and state your case. Tell us why you shouldn't get charged. Why there was a mistake in process, why the fire department made a mistake. Tell us why you believe it is wrong. Just because you don't like the fees is not an excuse. Just because you didn't do it in a timely way and you think it's excessive is not an excuse. So if you have some technical reason for us to believe that the department did something they shouldn't have done or you shouldn't have been charged, that we will hear. But if you just don't like it, I'm sorry. We're not going to let you talk very long, and we'll send this forward. So that is kind of the game plan for today. We don't have a lot of cards, so we will begin item number 1.
Morning, John White, City Clerk. Item 1, Board of Fire Commissioners report relative to the Fire Department's 2009 Brush Clearance Assessment Hearings Report and proposed appeal decision and recommendations.
Morning, Captain. How are you?
Good morning. I'm Rob Knight, Captain in charge of the Brush Clearance Unit for the Los Angeles Fire Department.
Paul Terrace, Fire Inspector, Brush Clearance Unit.
Let's start off with, we'll begin with the first, just the public comment, not an appeal. Dr. Clyde Williams is going to tell us what's wrong with the entire system.
Is this for the general public comment or the comment on the item?
No, this is item number 1. The appeal. And since you don't have an appeal, you're going to tell us what's wrong with the...
Dr. Clyde Williams, 4115 Barrett Road, El Sereno, Northeast LA. We're all quite familiar with this document and the fact that it doesn't work. We have the most stringent fire requirements in the United States, much more than LA County, but we still have fires. Why? I don't know. Because if you would comply fully with these, no structure would be endangered. And since we have a lot of people that seem to differ with the fire department this year, and next year will even be more. But last year, I submitted 40 parcels in the Verdugo Hills within the city of Los Angeles that had not been cleared for many years, not just one. So arbitrariness. I go with, if you're going to have a law or a specification, you enforce it, because everybody has to have the same playing ground. So my concern is that the application, enforcement of the brush clearance requirements within the city of Los Angeles are not consistent. They are not fully covering all 130,000 parcels, and many of them, I mean, not 10 out of 130,000, but over 100 in the city of Los Angeles don't comply, and maybe haven't never complied. Downstairs in the Board of Public Works, every once in a while they'll have a tree removal requirement, and you can see the photographs from those, and they clearly show that the vegetation has not been cleared consistent with our requirements. So my concern is that this year you have problems, next year you're going to have even bigger problems because money is starting to be involved at the inspection level. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. First appeal will be from Yuen Sug Cha. Excuse me, Captain, I think you had a report. Ms. Sung, go ahead and sit down.
Yes.
Captain, I believe you had a report that's now been added to the file. And these are cases in which you have had further action
That's correct.
to either waive fees, is that what they all are, administrative waiving of fees?
Yes, we made contact with these individuals. We reviewed our files and our records, and these are the recommendations by the fire department.
Okay, are any of those here today?
I don't believe so. None are here today.
Okay. In that case, we'll accept the additional report and add it to the file, Mr. White, and that will go forward to the council with the recommendations as well. Thank you. Okay. Morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, sir. My name is Yoon Suk Cha.
Okay. And for purposes so we can keep along, Captain, do you have the page number?
Sure. So just 1 second here. Should be page 99.
All right. That's good.
Yes, I did receive, I give to you 6 copy, right? Everybody has, right? At page number 1, this one, this one is, they send the previous owner, they didn't clear their brush. This is almost 42,000 square feet, very huge lot. And then that person is dead. But they sent this one to this old address. I did receive this one February 26th. When I received, I went to brush clearance department, Van Nuys, and I explained to them I did receive this letter. This letter said previous owner didn't pay $2,300 cost of clearance by professional contract, and also administrative fee $1,026 they charged. So I did this letter February 26th. And then payment due date was already over, February 24, because I did receive 2 days after. And then also they said page number 2 said I can appeal. Deadline was February 9, 2010. Both is already deadline to appeal or deadline.
Go ahead.
Yeah, deadline to fee. But bottom line, they mailed to all the previous owner address, and owner was expired. And then you see number 1 page behind, they were envelope is there. I have original here. I have your copy. Post official wrote down their deceased, return to sender. And then they found the new owner is my name, and they mailed to me February 26th. Then I did file the appeal February 26th, and then I was pre-hearing. At the time, I didn't bring any documents, this kind of information, and they said I have the responsible. But I am not agree that decision. Number 1, I bought this property 2009, October 13. After I bought, I checked there, somebody already cleared. Maybe the previous owner didn't clear, and then CD, they hire private contractor. They did clean already. That's why I don't pay attention. And then 2010, March 8, you have page number 3, copy. They said starting 2010, every property owner have to responsible their own property, have to clear, brush. That's why you can see page number 4. I did clean my property, and then I took a picture. I turned into fire department. Okay, they said, oh, it's okay now. And then I did receive page number 5, and around May 10, around I did receive. And they said, I have to clean my property notice. And then I called, supervisor and David Nunes, Armando Nunes, and also Inspector Valdez Trotti, and also Captain Valdez Anthony. I spoke with him. I did clean my property because I have 26 property, so I have to responsible by myself. And then I did clean everything. I showed them, but my property was almost 42,000 square feet. Inside, you see number 5 in the back page. This is 42,000 square feet. Inside, more than 10 people own small piece inside my property. And then fire department didn't know which one is belong to whom, because the previous owner was expired over 5 years. He never clean, and they hire private contract people cleaned. That's why person name is Inspector Valdez Anthony Tinkley. Maybe this year same thing again. He didn't check. He just sent it to this notice. And I complained his boss, and then they come, oh, you did clean your property. And then they said, I'm sorry. And then,
Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Mr. Reyes is really the expert of this. Is this property been subdivided?
say again?
The property, all these properties here has been subdivided?
Majority is mine. Inside, small pieces, every different person owns.
Okay, so you own the ones that are highlighted? Or
Yes, 42.
You own most of the property?
Yeah, about 95% I own.
So were those properties, those portions of those property, at least that you own, cleaned?
Yes.
They were cleaned?
Yeah, I did clean. I did clean October, March.
So you believe that the department is looking at the entirety of the property and holding you responsible?
No,
I think what he's saying is that he cleaned his portions.
Yeah.
yes,
The portions that were not clean was owned by the person who was deceased,
right.
yet they sent in the contractor, they cleaned it when they essentially charged them for something they cleaned that belonged to somebody else. That's what I'm hearing.
Right, also, majority property was mine.
But I think the important point is what you're saying is you had already cleaned your properties.
2010.
And 10.
You have already cleaned, so
Yes.
the ones that were not cleaned did not belong to you.
Yes.
They send in someone to clean it, then they send you the bill.
Something like that. There was and then CD clean long property. They did mistake.
Right.
Yes.
I got that.
Yeah.
Captain?
Okay, let's clarify. We're talking the assessment and the clearance was done in 2009, not in 2010. Excuse me. This property, subject property that we're discussing here was actually inspected on May the 6th of 2009. Violations were noted, and it was issued a notice of violation with a compliance due date of May the 22nd, 2009. A reinspection was conducted on the 25th, 2009, of the month of the month of May, and is still found to be in non-compliance. The fire department submitted a work order, put it into a bidding package, and it was cleared by the fire department on July the 18th, 2000.
You're talking about the parcels he owns?
The parcel in question, parcel number 24012027031.
But that's an important question, Captain.
So 1 second. That was before I owned.
Okay, just a minute. That's an important question. The one from Councilmember Smith is, the question, the parcels you're citing, are they the parcels he owned, or is it owned by the deceased? That's, I think, the gray area.
The gray area here is, I believe Mr. Chaw purchased this property at an auction, and these fees were applied to the previous owner. When he purchased this property, he purchased that assessment along with it.
No, 1 second. This is not auction. This is forced auction. In auction, nobody buy because they owe a lot of money. And then
But the point is, sir, when you acquire a property, if there's outstanding debts on it, you acquire those debts.
no, they say this forced auction is different. When you auction, is have to responsible. And auction, nobody buy. And then forced auction, they said whatever somebody owe tax, you can have. That's why I bought after auction.
That's something, city attorney,
Yeah, that's a legal.
When you buy the property, you
Forced
owe
auction.
the debt,
that's correct. No,
whether
and there
it's
is,
forced auction or an
that's
auction.
my understanding too.
It runs, it's the lien that runs.
The
with
lien
property.
goes with the property, not the owner.
It doesn't matter if it's forced auction, it could be forced auction or regular auction, it doesn't matter. Either way, the liens come with the property. That's what the city attorney is saying.
Yeah, but then, they supposed to send it to this kind of bill, this kind of deal, but I did receive after,
Okay, on that point, Captain, were there any late fees charged?
There were, that is the assessment. No, there are no late fees.
No late fees?
No.
So you're not paying any late fees for the fact that you got the notice afterwards?
so then I can just pay just, whatever, cost of whatever they do. But they charge about 1,026, I will responsible, not 3,000.
No.
Those
You're-
are administrative fees.
Those are administrative
That
fees.
he's responsible for the administrative fees as well as for the clearance fees.
So I feel responsible 100%.
Yes.
Because I bought 26 property, but other property, same problem.
Yeah.
They just waived everything.
I don't know who did that, but...
No, no, they said the forced auction is because
No, I'm sorry,
auction.
that's wrong, and I think I've heard enough. And for the audio record, we've been joined by Ms. Perry, so we have a quorum. Mr. Reyes, you have any more questions?
No.
Ms. Perry?
Fine.
Okay,
So maybe you can just, break something,
No, is there a recommendation to,
Because I didn't receive, when I was auction, I was there, they said not this much, not this much.
well, you need to go talk to the auction people then.
Oh, no. They charge here 2,300 originally here, but when I was there, about less than 1,000 left there, notice there. Okay, I'll take care. But when I received this bill, because they keep sending deceased people, previous owner, but I bought this one actually 2009 August.
Yeah.
But I suppose receive this one, they keep sending all the people, all the previous owner. That's why I
That's
didn't
because
pay.
the County of Los Angeles tax records usually take 6 to 9 months to get caught up, maybe longer now, I don't know, but those records are not
But-
updated quickly, so we can only go on the records that we have from the county.
So maybe, 2,300 is, I try something, something, break something,
I'm not willing to do that. Is anyone on the committee? No. Okay. Ms. Child, the recommendation of the committee would be go forward with the assessment as proposed. Thank you very much.
That means I have to pay in full.
Yes, sir.
So until
We
when?
have one more opportunity to come to the city council meeting. Have we scheduled this yet, John?
This is scheduled for council tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning will be the final hearing on this matter.
I have to be here tomorrow again?
Yes, you can be if you choose to be. This committee is recommending that you pay the full amount.
Or they will maybe reduce the price? They will reduce,
Historically, no, but you have the opportunity to come make that argument.
argument again?
Yeah.
Or tomorrow, 10 o'clock?
Tomorrow, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Alex Mack.
So I can have my all copy of my paper or what? I give you a bunch of copy, so you guys keep tomorrow too or what?
They stay with the file. They'll go forward to the council with the file. Now, this doesn't guarantee there will be a hearing tomorrow.
Right.
It's up to the council president and the council if they want to have a hearing.
Sir, you've been afforded your opportunity by the board here today.
And
The matter, the final action will be heard at city council tomorrow morning. At that time, you'll have an opportunity to enter a limited 2-minute public comment.
Okay,
That will
I-
be the only opportunity that you have,
Oh, I
is
can-
to make a public comment.
Okay, I can just explain one more time tomorrow, huh?
Yes, you may make
10
that.
o'clock, okay.
Limited to the time limit.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Alex Mack?
That's at the president's discretion, though.
Yes.
So he may not get that chance. Okay. Hey, welcome back.
Mac should be on page 430.
4:30.
Okay. My name is Alex Mack.
1 second. Make sure everyone's got 4:30. Okay, I've got it. All right, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry. sir,
My name
talking.
is Alex Mack, and my ID number is 5684023017. And I gave the handouts last week. Have you got this handout?
You see what it looks like so I can find it. Just show it, just hold it up. So it's a typewritten short, okay?
Pictures. There were a few pages. the complaint form.
Go ahead, Mr. Mack, we'll find it.
I have an extra one in case you need to see it right away.
It'll be in.
I was issued a complaint and by the fire department, and I did not get the first one, but when I got the second one, I paid $650 for total cleanup, according to the law. And the law I quoted here is Los Angeles Municipal Code, LAMC 50, Section 57.21.
Save your time, we know the law, go ahead.
07. And I have it here, okay? It's included in my handout. And what the law says is I'm supposed to clean up to 6 feet from the ground. Okay, I did that. I paid $650, get it all done before the deadline. But I was issued a complaint, which is in addition to that law, and it's handwritten here. It's not a standard complaint. It's in the handout that I am to remove the dead fronds 500 feet up in the air. I have 4 palm trees, and they charged me $2,000 to do it. I couldn't find any part of the law which says I have to do that. I'm being charged an excessive fee of $2,000, and I want to dispute that. I already paid for that to remove by that law, which you already know.
Okay, Captain?
Okay, the property, subject property was inspected on the 18th of August in 2009. A violation was noted for several things, for brush and trees to remove all dead palm fronds on both palm trees that are all the way up. The property was cited for violations. A notice was issued. No action was taken on those trees. The fire department re-inspected it on the September the 14th of 2009, and a work order was submitted, and the property was ultimately brought into compliance on October the 9th of 2009. The portion of the code that Mr. Mack is referring to is in item D, which means to keep all trees, shrubs, and other growing vegetation that are adjacent to properties or overhanging buildings or structures free of all dead limbs. And that is the portion that he was cited for those palm trees. It is also included in our mass mailer brochure on what to clear, where to clear, and it's also very clearly described there in that location. This was explained to Mr. Mack. He refused to comply, and therefore his assessment was for the $680 for the cost of the clearance and the administrative fee, which brings it up to nearly $1,700.
So you understand, Mr. Mack, the section of your code you're replying to is not the section you were cited for. You were cited for dead growth.
And where is that? I couldn't find it anywhere. I look up the law, that's section 57. I couldn't find it. I listed it here. I circled it. Can I see that?
I made a phone call to Mr. Mack. I gave him my number. I never received a phone call from him. He has refused to comply with this portion of the code. Specifically in section of that code that he did quote 5721.07, but item D, all trees, no matter what tree it is, adjacent to or overhanging any structure free of dead limbs. There were several dead limbs on both those palm trees. Item I, maintain all landscape vegetation, included to, but not limited to, cedars, cypress, fir, juniper, pine, eucalyptus, acacia, and palms, which includes that tree that's on this property.
Okay. Mr. Lee? So it's in the code. Do you understand that palm trees are the biggest fire danger we have in the city of LA? That they burn really bad, and they always, their palms float through the air because they're very high and the winds kick them for long distances and start other fires. I mean, it's the worst tree we have, probably. And so when they say they want those palm fronds removed when they're dead, and palms do...
You talk about the top of the
tree. Anything that's dead, wherever it is on that tree. And palm trees always have dead fronds on them.
But I see, my problem is, I don't see it in the law, at least I couldn't.
Well, he has cited the section, you've cited the wrong part of the section.
I have to look it up.
In section D.
Okay, I have to look it up, but I see
Go ahead and look
trees
at
too.
and we'll give you a copy.
All over the city. Can I have it? now take a look?
Not probably right now, but we can get a copy for you.
I've reached out to Mr. Mack.
Yeah.
I've given him my personal phone number. He's not called me.
All right.
And it is online. It is on,
Section D, sir. All right?
Okay, because the
D and I.
last, section D of 5721.
Section D.
correct.
D
Not
and I.
07,
D and I.
D as in dog.
D as in dog, okay.
Okay. So the recommendation of the committee is to confirm the assessment?
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you very much.
But I see the trees on the street, I see them all over town. I don't see why I should, these are trees on the street.
Worry about your property. We'll worry about the rest, okay? Gretchen Fisher. Sure. Okay, Ms. Cap,
Mrs. Fisher is on page 225.
okay, Ms. Fisher, have you given us any documents?
Yes, one,
One?
but I have things to say.
Okay, hang on, let's find the document so we can stay up with
Just
you.
in general, though, this has nothing to do with that.
Okay,
Happy to see you again. I've seen you at Wilkinson Senior Center. See Jan Perry again. I saw her last Monday. Ed Reyes. You're from the, who are you? From the,
I'm from the city attorney's office.
oh, very good. I'd like a chance at the end, if we have time, to read something from a neighbor after this whole thing is over, just as a public
we'll take
comment.
public comments at the end.
Yes, and Mr. White again, and the young men were here last week from the public safety. Well, my parents built a house in Benedict Canyon with my mother's money and my father's contractor's license with fire safety in mind. There's slate on the roof. There were a lot of cabins up there in Benedict Canyon at that time. And there's plaster walls instead of wood. There was a metal roof over a metal fence. My dad grew up with San Pedro sheet metal. His dad came over Ellis Island from Norway as a 17-year-old, and he started the sheet metal work. All 8 of his children, boys or girls, worked there. So this is surrounded by metal. And when my mother died, we had this house north of Northridge Fashion Center. It's a colonial house that was on 7 acres, built by Paul Williams, famous architect. He sold it and went back to the house they built when I was an infant. Now, we've dealt with hillside clearance. One side of the street is green, it's the shady side, and the other side where the house is sumac, which is very flammable, and dry grass for the most part. And so Miguel came to our hearing with the fire department in person, and he didn't speak much English, but he had 2 comments to say. Inspector Ledesma, or how do you say his name? Sesma is my man. I went to see him last week and look at pictures. He was very gracious. He went and actually looked at the property this recently and loved the work Miguel did. And I saw a beautiful picture of Miguel's work at the hearing. But one of the problems is I don't live at the vacant house. It's in life estate. If you know what that is, they didn't want it to end. I'm not able to sell the house. It's not even in my name. I'm their oldest daughter. They picked my youngest brother's daughter, their only granddaughter, to inherit it. The minute I die, it's hers. If you know how life estate works, it passes down in the family. So anyway, by obligation, I'm the caretaker of this place. So
Are you the owner of record, though?
No. I can't sell it.
What, no, somebody-
Megan Fisher, my
Megan?
granddaughter, will, on my death, it's hers.
Who's on the property?
She's 28,
Who's on-
nobody,
Who's listed by the County of LA as the legal owner?
not me.
Okay.
I-
you want
It
a
would
record?
be Megan Fisher when I called up. She's going to take over the minute I die.
Megan Gretchen?
Life estate.
It's Gretchen.
Correction, yeah.
No, I can't sell it.
I'm
It's
not
not
asking whether you can
entitled to
sell it or not. I'm asking you, are you the legal owner?
me.
of
No.
record? You are not.
My mother was Gretchen as well,
Okay.
but she passed away.
Okay, so
I'm in life estate.
are you Gretchen A.
I'm
Fisher?
Gretchen A., but I'm obligated to pay taxes and everything else, which
So you pay the property
I
tax?
haven't done, no. I haven't, it's built up, and I'm asking my brother to help pay that, because it's his daughter who's gonna have it.
But the
I'm
point is...
68 years old, I'm not
I
gonna
understand
live that
The
long.
point is, you are the registered owner of the property, even though it's in a life estate.
In what way, I don't know, just as for temporary, as long as I live, but as I said before, may not sell it, period. It's in that, you say you understand how that works.
I understand, and I also understand if you don't pay your property taxes within 5 years, you're not going to own the property.
Yes, that's why I'm asking, this bill is
No,
going
I'm
to
saying-
go on the property
I'm saying if
tax.
you don't pay your property taxes, they're going
Yes.
to take the property away from you.
I understand.
Whether or not you have a life estate or not means nothing to them. And
Exactly.
likewise,
You're
the
right.
responsibility that goes with that property,
Yes.
besides paying property taxes, is to clear the property.
That's why we did comply with what,
Okay, so the
Inspector-
argument is then that you did comply.
no, I did, and that's the point.
Okay.
Let me explain.
Well, I'm trying to get to that because you're running out of time here.
I have a signed receipt from Miguel this time. Miguel was there in person, so I didn't need a receipt, I thought. My brothers paid him $600.
Did the fire department review the property? Was it clean to the standards?
No, we cited for violation for a number of things. Also, it was, we received a number of complaints from the local residents and from the local fire station there of the condition of the property. And we cited her for section 21.3 under housekeeping as well for pack rat conditions, which states to maintain all buildings or portion of the building in a neat, orderly fashion. Any condition that would create or contribute to a fire hazard, you're directed to remove all accumulation of debris on the second floor of this property, remove all debris, brush, and then we gave her a final notice on that. No action was done on that removal, so we went forward and took action on that.
Okay, and then we did something. I sent Miguel up there, my brothers paid him this $600, and he went on vacation. He said he finished. He went up as far up the hill as the substitute man that says Macent, and then quit. So then I get a letter, and where do you think it's sent? It didn't go to my house in Mission Hills. It went up there. And I have documents here that show I had the address changed, and I'm still getting mail even as late as 714 to Portola Drive, a
When did you have
vacant
that?
house.
When did you have the address changed, and who did you have it changed?
Well, it says right here, I went in, I've had it changed several times, here it is.
Who did you have it changed?
Supplemental address and added 624.
Ms. Fisher, who is that form with?
This is master parcel information sheet that came in this letter from the fire department official,
Who did you have the address changed with?
with the fire department.
So you notified the fire department of the...
Many times, not once, whenever I went in there and whenever I called, and I'm still getting to the vacant. So what happened was, he did a beautiful job, like I say, this year, he just checked it last week, and the year before,
Yeah.
on the hillside, and I saw nice pictures of his work, but
Captain?
then, I have to
Did it meet
finish
the
my sentence.
Ma'am, we're running out of time.
Okay,
and
they
we spent a
told
lot of time talking about things that
Mr.
have...
Smith, they made me go to the top in some letter I didn't get, and when my son went up to pick up this letter he found in there, he didn't give it to me, and I didn't know I had to go to the top. So when I got the letter, he said, "Oh, here." Then Miguel and he ran up the hill, he's good, and he saw a mess, and he testified to that at the top, and that's what they did.
Okay.
Everything was cleared out under that
You've said that
metal.
already, and you haven't let me ask the question. Captain, was it cleared to the standards of the department?
No.
It was not.
It was cleared to
So-
200 feet, and here is your
But it was,
thing. I gave you this today on the Brown section, number 8, and you're picking on me if you want me to go to the top, because I'm
You're at
going
the
to
top.
200 feet like everybody else, and that part was clear.
okay.
That was clear before he went on vacation. You added that going to the top afterwards.
They're saying,
And that's 50 feet more.
Sir, ma'am, they're saying you did not clear it properly.
I didn't clear the top 50 feet because I was told by not only the fire investigator, who came in a nice little car with white hair, and nobody can tell me his name, he said that's far enough, and Miguel did it to the 200-foot mark.
Okay.
That's
Captain,
the
was there
truth.
any issue with that?
No, our records don't reflect anything like that, but it just states that the information was to clear all the dead vegetation all the way to the end of the rear property line, and that was indicated and stamped here that that was done on June the 30th, 2009. And no action was done. We went forward and we cleared the property, and we were done on October the 1st, 2009.
They did, the top 50 feet is so steep, nobody could go up there, and the rest, they had nothing to do. The bill is $300. That shows it's not the whole hillside. In fact, we complied. Okay, I have severe, it says at the end of my testimony was the man in their office when I had that appeal. I am in severe financial hardship. Not only can I would like you to at least reduce, if not completely do away with an unfair fee. You said you didn't want to hear about the fee, but it is $1,000 and something. And I certainly would appreciate some, I know Jan Perry has a heart from last week, and people don't get their mail. That was the first time she was making a motion for
Captain, has
that
this
man.
property ever had problems before? This is the first
Vacant.
time?
I don't have that record here to look back at. I'd have to look back on that record.
Okay, I'd like you to let me know that. We'll hold this, we won't act on this one today. We want you to come back to,
Can be revised.
It's moving forward to
Okay.
city council.
I want you to have this by council tomorrow. I want to know if there's any previous records with it not being done.
None.
I can tell you have serious financial problems. You're going to lose your property, ma'am. I mean, you're $19,000 in arrears on property taxes.
That's for both houses. This one's about $6,000, the one the fee would go on.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my brother to pay that.
Well, someone's got to pay it or you're going to lose it, and they won't care about your life estate.
That's
They're gonna take
farther,
it from you,
that's
okay?
farther behind, yeah.
You report this tomorrow if it's...
I can make one phone call and have our assistant make one phone call.
Okay,
We can
we'll
get
hold
that
this back
information
for a
for
few
you.
minutes then.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, let's wait. We're going to wait on a few minutes on this one. Yagub Ayanichi?
Thank you, sir.
Page number?
What was the last name again?
Ianichi?
Yes.
I-A-N-I-A-Y.
Aynichchi.
Let me have your map book page. Your APN number, sir?
Pardon?
The APN number? He doesn't have his
Can I
paperwork.
see it?
It's over the,
We have the page number?
The APN number is 5462-004005-7.
Was that on this list?
It's right here.
Oh, this list is
Wait a minute. Is it Ianichi Yagu?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there.
So that one's already been waived.
Are you Ianichi Yagu?
yes.
Okay, this is on the waive, so, Captain, this is on the letter, on the waive letter?
Read the
Yes.
APN number again. Make sure.
Did it in, the APN in
Page 330.
4005?
330.
330.
330. You have more than one property?
Yeah.
Okay, 330. Let's see if this is the same one.
Yes, 330,
It's a different property.
A different property? It's got the same APN number as the one that's on here.
just a second.
Yeah, you're right.
See on our list of speakers.
05.
Different dollar amount. No, it's the same, this is the one that's on the wave already.
But wait a minute, look, here. See, let me show you.
Oh, wait.
Unless this is a typo,
No?
Yes.
the first name is spelled differently here than it is in this one. It must be a typo. Typographical error?
Yeah,
Is that it? No.
that's CHI instead of CHR.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a typo. So I believe administrative fee has been waived.
Oh, 05. Yes, the fire department reviewed, we reviewed all the speaker cards that were submitted beforehand. We reviewed our documentation, our record. We did see that we had returned mail several times on the issues of the notices that were sent out to the property owner and record. Fire department recognizes an error there in the mailing address, and the recommendation by the fire department is to waive the administrative fee.
All right, so is that satisfactory to you? The fees will be waived.
The
You
administrative.
don't have to pay, you don't have to pay the administrative fee.
The administrative fee is waived. His
Okay.
assessment is $150.
150.
So it's 150 instead of 1,700. All right. Delia Rauda? R-A-U-D-A, Ruda? Where was?
Yes, just a second here.
Oh, she gave me.
Gotta get her
Did I?
case number.
Did I?
We need her.
We did the proofreading thing here. You get this, you talk,
Is your APN number on there?
that's one.
Yeah, I got
She was not from at the first hearing.
He's already said 4, 5, put 3 cards in.
I'm gonna leave the here in a minute.
5452018032.
I just need the page number.
Page 313.
313?
Yes, 313.
Thank you.
All right.
Good morning. My name is Delia Rauda. I own a couple of lots over there in the View Terrace. But I don't speak a very good English, that's why I asked somebody, make this letter for me. I don't know, can you guys please read it?
Okay, so you hired somebody that just didn't do the job right.
Yes.
Okay, and so you want the fees waived? Is that what you're asking?
No, I don't want to pay the amount because somebody else do the job before they got it over there by the lot.
Okay, Captain?
Yeah, and that's exactly what seems to have happened here. The subject property is a vacant lot here off of Glen Albin Drive, and it was inspected on June the 30th, and it failed its inspection. They were issued a notice of violation. That notice went out, was not returned, so it was assumed that the property owner was properly served. And a second notice of noncompliance was issued on August the 6th when it was reinspection was done, and it still remained in noncompliance, and it was therefore prepared a work order, and the property was brought into compliance by the fire department on August the 26th. And some work had been done by the property owner, but however, the property still remained in noncompliance.
Ma'am, do you understand that?
I understand, but I had gardener, he worked on that lot since 2006. In 2006, I met Mr. Terrace, And if you go over here by this page, you see my two lots over here, and they say I had to go almost to the middle to the street to clean up the area. And we do it every year, except last year I had to go on a trip, and I couldn't find my gardener. Unfortunately, he changed address, name, and everything. I couldn't find him. I hired somebody else, and he just do probably half of the job, like you can see in the picture over there. After that, I saw Don Miguel coming to my house, and I said, can you please go clean my lot, but you have to do it this weekend? And he said, yes, I will do it. And he did that, and cleaned up everything. On Monday, I went to check, and then on Wednesday, I go back and take a picture. Unfortunately, my camera, I couldn't take but one picture because my camera was dying in that time. They don't have enough battery. When I saw a guy over there from the company they hiring, and said, what are you guys are doing here? They said, we clean it, but my lot is cleaning. And he said, yes, I know your lot is cleaning, but we have to clean up the other lot, the first one. And I said, okay. In case I had a problem, can you please be my witness? And he said, yes, it's not a problem. And then I said, I asked can you please report to your boss or your supervisor, any person in charge of this? He said, yes, I will. Apparently he did nothing because they don't got any note from nobody. My lot was clean. At the time they got it, my lot was complete. And the same thing, there is no problem since 2006, only 2009 is the problem, but just before everything is okay. And the guy do the same thing, there is no difference. Why I had to pay that kind of amount when I already spent over $600 for the cleaning and then $300 I paid there? Is enough to punish when you want to punish somebody for something that they do on time. $300 is okay. But pay over $1,000 when I know somebody already do it, no. That's not fair, that's not honest. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, in fact, the hearing officer, the number one reason why she was denied is her appeal was that she had done some of the work, but it was not to complete to fire department specs, but not only that, but she didn't submit any documentation, no photos, that evidence was that it was done, or any dates, and so that's why her appeal was denied at the hearing.
Mr. Reyes?
So I'm just a little confused. What you're saying is that, this is what I'm trying to understand. When she went there and the lot was already cleaned, there was already a contractor there that was doing the cleaning, or that point in which she's presenting?
And that's the issue, I think, what had happened in the hearing is that we didn't have our dates confirmed. The date that we have that the fire department cleared the property was the 26th. And I don't know what date she's referring to, but that's the date that we cleared the property. The hazard still existed, and we went forward with it.
So was a judgment call on whoever went there to say it needed to be cleaned when the person who owns property is saying that the gardener had already cleaned it? That's the judgment call right now. That's what's in doubt, correct?
I'm not sure.
In other words, the person that was there, the contractor that was there, cleaned the lot.
Correct.
Because that person felt it wasn't clean enough, yet we're hearing that the lot had already been cleaned, and that's the discretion at that moment.
Yeah, the discrepancy is that they felt that the work that they did was enough to meet the fire department requirements, and we disagreed.
And these pictures, you submitted these pictures?
No, I couldn't take that picture that day to the hearing when I went to Venice.
Whose pictures are these?
Those are my pictures I take.
That's what I said, those are your pictures?
Yes.
And you're saying this is clean to satisfaction?
That's the first photo, you can see the fixed picture over there?
Yeah.
That's the first person went to clear the area.
Yeah.
The second one, that's the same gardener I used it for a long time. And he knows exactly what he has to do. Also, I asked Aldo, can you please come with me and explain? At the first conversation, he said yes. When I had to go to the hearing with them, I asked him, can you come? He said no, he changed complete everything. And Mr. Terry knows Aldo very well. He knows who is Aldo. And we asked, can you stop here the conversation and call Aldo? And he said no. can we make another meeting, please? And he said, no. What's going on? I don't know. But you mean that person know exactly how was my lot, my property. And they don't want him coming, clarify everything. That's not, I don't know.
Can you tell me if the contractors showed up without notifying the owner, or did they show up on their own? Was there any notification?
They show up on the order of the fire department. Our notification was that they were beyond their property, was a posted notice that was actually, the property was posted on August the 6th. So that is her final notice.
So this sounds to me everything's happening within days or very close, right? She's trying to get the gardener to get out there, the contractor goes out there to clean it, and it's happening within a very short period of time?
Seems that way, yes. Yes.
I would, given that it's so close, and there's proof of that discussion, and there is some gray area here in terms of the timing, would we consider a half the administrative fee, given that it's not a total neglect or a total, she's not totally just dismissing the obligation. It seems to be a communication breakdown within days. I would suggest that we could do half the administrative fee to cover some of the cost of our work.
That could be the recommendation, that this committee moves forward, but this committee, without a quorum, can't take that action.
Okay.
Okay, and for the record, we've lost Ms. Perry now, so all the items we acted on go forward with the recommendation of the committee, from this point forward, the recommendation of the chair. So that's the motion by Mr. Reyes. I'll accept that as a recommendation of the chair, that we reduce it to 50%, because you did do some effort toward it. It wasn't enough, but you did some effort, so.
I understand, sir, the first time, you see, you have the pictures over there.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is the first person.
The problem is, I don't know when those pictures were taken. I don't know that's even the property.
And they told me
several years ago.
Yeah.
That was the contractor that she had previously used.
Yeah. And again, they're not relevant. I don't know that they're actual. I don't know the real. I can only go on the discussion we've had and the dates and the times that are in question, and that you did do something. The departments admitted that, but you didn't do enough. You're using a new guy, probably wasn't really up to speed on it. So the recommendation of Mr. Reyes is we cut it in half.
That's one of the reasons I asked them, can you please call Aldo and verify what I say?
Okay. I want to make sure you understand what our recommendation is. We're not going to charge the full $1,700. We're going to charge half of it.
No, half of the admin fee.
Half the administrative
The ad
fee.
fee, the clearance fee goes.
Half of the administrative fee.
Yeah, which is, so it'd be $513 instead of $1,026, plus the $150.
500 what?
It'd be $513 plus $150. So $663.
Sir, I suggest before they send people over there, they make sure that it rules. Soon that the contractor find out the lot is clean, the whole area is clean, they have to report to the supervisor.
And they do that. What they're saying, ma'am, is that you didn't clean it enough. It wasn't finished.
Yes, sir, I think more than what I say. If you
Okay.
see those arrows pointing, and my lot is the blue, you see those
Yeah.
arrows pointing to the middle of the
Yeah.
street? I had to clean out that part.
We understand
Every
that.
year.
Yes.
I don't think so, that's my obligation, that's part of the city obligation.
No, that's not the city's obligation. That's your obligation. You own to the center of the street, not the city. Okay? So that'll be the recommendation. If you're not satisfied with that, we don't, we can just forget it.
Sir, what I say is I paid almost $900 for done everything. I got to do my best. And how can I, yes.
Okay, next item.
I recommend, before we go to the next item, we did make contact with the brush clearance unit for Ms. Fisher, Gretchen Fisher, and the question was there a notice for a violation in the previous years? And we showed them.
So this is the first time we've had a problem.
So the first time,
So
yes.
her explanation that she's experiencing extreme financial hardship, it's evidenced by the other records. Ms. Fisher, I want you to, before we make any recommendation. I want you to understand that, first of all, there was other citations on your property. The house, the way you keep it, you've got to keep it clean. And that the property must be maintained every year, and it is your responsibility.
That was personal things moved in a hurry by Miguel when they sold the house. I told
Okay.
you that.
Yeah, I'm not looking for,
Letting pictures,
okay,
you know,
I'm not looking for an explanation. I'm just telling you, I want you to understand your responsibility is to maintain
You're not on the record,
property.
ma'am. You're not on the record at this point. Just listen to
So-
the chair.
I don't want to see you back here next year is what I'm saying. I understand you have financial problems. You need to find a way to deal with this. You have some really serious issues to deal with, much bigger than this one issue. Okay?
but they took buildings.
But ma'am, you're not on the record.
Mr. Reyes? You have any inclinations?
No. She did half the work too, though, didn't she? Are they charging for the difference?
Yeah.
What wasn't done?
I don't have that case in front of me again. Captain, what was, they didn't do all of the property, or they did nothing? I have to go back now, I don't remember.
No, the issue was, most of it was the debris
The debris.
and pack rack condition, and there were some brush vegetation issues that need to be.
Okay, so how much of this bill was for that pack rat condition versus brush clearance?
Most of it is for the pack rack condition. I would say at least 80% of it was for the back rack condition.
Okay, Mr. Reyes, I would just go along with the assessment, unfortunately. I think it's the proper thing to do.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I understand your problems, ma'am. You can't keep the property like that. And 80% of it was just cleaning up the property, not just cutting down the weeds. That doesn't cost you money. I mean, you have to find a way to get that resolved, okay? We're going to go forward with the assessment. It'll just keep adding up to you. I know you're probably not going to pay it, looking at your other financial obligations, so keep piling up on the property bill. So that's the ruling of the committee. It goes forward.
Can I go back on the record, please?
No.
Ma'am, you're not on the
Okay,
record.
next item is, I'm sorry, I can't read it. G-E-N, Gennaro? And the last name, sir? D-E-L-O, okay, DeLeo.
My name is,
Hang on, we're going to find the case.
Sir, do you have your APN number?
yes, I do. Will you like that?
This one. Page 310.
We have it.
310.
Got it?
Excuse me, Ms. Perry is not here, so
Ma'am, you're not on the record.
It goes forward to the recommendation of the committee chair, not the committee. All right, sir?
My name is Gennaro de la O. I reside at 460 Vista Gloriosa Drive in Mount Washington. I received a letter of noncompliance, and I went and I trimmed my trees the way I thought, were supposed to be cleaned. And so I received a second notice, and that was a noncompliance. So I called their office. I spoke to the dispatcher, Mr. Alf, I believe it's Shrek. And so he looked at his computer, and he said, well, this is a funny one because it shows you're not being non-compliant. He goes, there's no letter in here. So he said, I'll give you the inspector's number, which is Mr. Paul Terrace, area code 818-778-4935, which I called them 3 times to find out, according to his dispatcher, what happened. I wanted to know if there was any further work that needed to be done. And I left 3 messages, I left my phone number, and I never received any call back. And the next thing I know, I received a bill of, I believe it was almost $1,300. So my question is
why wasn't I contacted back after I did my work and called a dispatcher? And at the Van Nuys office, they told me that I should not be tying up their emergency lines, which is the number that's stated on here. It doesn't say anything about emergency, it just says a brush clearance. And I just want to know what, if they would have called me back, I would have went inside the house, got my chainsaw, went and trimmed whatever I needed to trim. I mean, that's my question. There's no communication in between them and the homeowner. I mean, my house, I've lived there for approximately 9 years, and I've never been non-compliant. Matter of fact, I had people come in and, they wanted me to do their landscape because I keep it so clean. I just, I want some kind of some fairness out of it. And I even volunteered to pay for the tree trimming fee because I never received that. It went from non-compliance to like almost $1,300. So if I would have received that, whatever the other one was, and he would have called me and explained to me, I would have paid it. I don't have a problem with that.
Captain?
On the record, fire department record reflects that the property located here on Vista Gloriso Drive, the property was inspected on July the 2nd of 2009, and a violation was issued. All notice was sent to the property owner, and we have no return mail, so it's assumed that all the property owner was properly served. On the second notice, in the comment section, it was indicated to trim trees back to curb and to allow emergency vehicles access, and that was the final notice. No action was done by the property owner, so therefore the property was put into a package and bidded out, and it was completed on August the 26th of 2009. The cost of the clearance to trim those trees was $190. The administrative fee obviously was $1,026, which brought his assessment to $1,216.
He claims he did call and never got a return call.
I have a number here, that's why I wrote it down, and the name of the person that I called.
Who did you call?
I spoke to their dispatcher, I believe it's Shrek. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. And then he says, he looked on his computer and he says, this is funny because it shows you not, being non-compliant. So he goes, I'll give you the inspector number. And I called him, he gave me, I don't know if it's his personal number or whatever it is. I left him 3 messages along with my cell phone number, and I go, I would like to know what other work it needs to be done on my property. See, what happens, my property goes from street to street. The trees on the front, I trim them right to the property line, which, I have some pictures of it. And as far as the back, on the back, I have, would you like to see this picture? Sorry.
That's okay.
This is the...
The issue is not the trees, the question is why...
I want to explain to you a little bit of what the situation is. That is the back of my property there, the ones I just handed out to him. And see, there's those type of, like a cactus type of tree that I have there. Mm-hmm. And as you see, right, the tree, which I actually trimmed a branch off of it because I didn't want to get any other fines besides that, he claimed that the tree was hanging over the street. And, the tree is right on the street. If he would have called me and told me that specific tree on the other side needed to be trimmed because they couldn't get in there, believe me, I would have gone out there at midnight and cut it. I mean, that's just my yard. I mean, like I say, I keep it really clean. I mean...
How long have you been there?
About 9 years, and I never received any non-compliance. That's why, I told them at the Van Nuys place, I go, let's just get it over with. I'll pay you the tree trimming, and we'll forget about it. I lost already 3 days of work. I'm the only sole provider of my house. I was late on my house payment. This is a really burden on my family. I mean, I don't know if you want to hear that, but...
Captain, you have any recommendation?
We have Inspector Terrace here also, who was one of the inspectors who was on this particular assessment here. Maybe he can shed some light also.
Yes. It actually surprised me that the homeowner didn't call me, because usually when I post the property with a big red sign, I get a call, and I check my messages diligently every morning, and I had no messages on my voicemail. If he would have called me 3 times...
Your name is on the postings?
Yes, sir.
And you called off of that letter?
The number his dispatcher gave me, which I don't know if that's his number or not, it's 818-778-4935. And I called him.
That's your number?
That's my number, but I never received any calls. And additionally, the red notice specifically, and you can read it in the picture, it specifically tells them what it needs to do. Mm-hmm. And that was 2 weeks before it went to contract.
Should we read that red sign?
Well, I read it, but my question is, if you notice that tree is like right on the corner, and I trimmed all the other trees, any tree that's there, and the trees that are on the front. And my whole question is, I'm not,
So this is about one tree?
Yes. And I'm not arguing about, that they trimmed it or not. What I'm saying, if he had called me and told me, this specific tree on the corner here needs to be trimmed, believe me, I would have done it.
Captain, the rest of the property was done, except for this one tree?
No, it was more than one tree. It was a row of trees along the front curb
Yeah,
side.
correct.
A row of trees?
Yeah.
That's different. You said one tree when I asked you.
Well, the front were trimmed, and they said they were okay. The only one that they questioned was the back one. That's what they were charging me for.
What did the posting say?
Would you like to see it, sir?
Just tell me.
It says trim tree branches back to curb line to allow emergency vehicle access.
Okay. Doesn't specify one tree or 9 trees or 400 trees. This is tree.
Yes, sir.
Tree singular or trees?
Trim tree branches.
Tree branches. That indicates to me one tree.
I have the photos.
He's got photos too. The point is, the notice says trim tree. Not trees, not line of trees, not block of trees, but tree. And he did some of that.
No, sir.
He did no trees. None.
Not on
one.
Glen Elvin Drive, no, sir.
Not one tree. You didn't do,
On Glen Alva Drive,
Yeah.
like the specific tree that's there,
He's showing a fresh cut tree.
that's the one that I trimmed, and they actually, what they did is they put a transformer up on top, and the city came and trimmed it. But, like I said, my whole question is, if this person, this gentleman, would have answered my phone calls, when I called them, I would have gone out there and trimmed them, because all the trees in front of my house, they're perfectly trimmed back right to my fence. And like, I do not have a question with complying with the fire department, because my last thing is to be non-compliance. I mean, that's the whole truth. I lived there for 9 years, and I've never been non-compliance. That's what I'm arguing about.
and this picture, have you seen this picture showing the branch trimmed off?
That's the one I trimmed back.
I don't know when that picture was taken, sir. So
I don't either, but
I have after pictures after we completed the work.
Yeah, correct, yeah. I saw them.
this is dated, the picture was printed 8/1/2010.
Yeah, correct. And I have the older ones, but I was just specific, because that way you guys can see clearly which trees are questioned.
Yeah, okay, but this has no relevance then, because it's printed from this year and the citations from last year.
No, but the whole thing, when they sent me the bill, was just recently, when I went to the Van Nuys Court. And, no, I understand what you're saying, and I understand what he's saying also, but my question is if you would have,
If it's just another one from 2010, I don't want to see it.
Sir, have a seat. Sir, have a seat. Sir, have a seat.
like, my question is that's the other pictures that I had taken after I tried to contact the gentleman about what happened. That's the older one.
Again, it's 2010, it's irrelevant.
Well, that's
All I can
where
say is the department says they went out and trimmed all the trees, and it was stated, now, if it was one tree, I would have given you the benefit of the doubt.
one tree they trimmed, correct?
Sir, allow the...
Oh, sorry. I'm really sorry, okay, but
Sir,
We trimmed several, more than one.
okay, and whose property?
sir, wait
Oh,
until
well,
a question is asked of you, sir.
That's after pictures.
Okay. All right, I think you had me for a moment there. But this is a series of trees, not one. And one picture from 2010 is irrelevant to me. So unless, Mr. Reyes, you object, I would say the recommendation of the chair will be to go along with the assessment.
Please.
No, but if you...
Sir,
That's-
unless a
that's it.
question is asked, do not speak.
That's it. So you can come tomorrow. Sonia Lagast? The L-A-G-A-S-T? Forgive me there.
The appeal report is on page 190.
190. Okay. All right, ma'am, go ahead.
Do I need the assessor number?
No,
Have-
we're good. We got it?
I've been the legal owner since 1993. I've never been cited. 3 years ago, I moved to a different property. At that time, I did a change of address with the county for property taxes. And the property is rented. In May, one renter moved out, and in your packet number 2, you see the lease of the new homeowner.
Okay.
I never received any mail, any notices. The only time I knew, I was aware of a problem was in packet number 2, and I printed the email because a new tenant emailed me saying that I was going to give you this notice, but I didn't see you, so I'm sending it through the email. It was posted on my front door. I printed it on the second copy. By then, it was read, the note. That's the first time I received something. Then I went to the fire department in Porter Ranch because the number on the notice, which you can't see, but I have the original here, was cut off. So the number was cut off when I printed it. So I went to the Porter Ranch. They assisted me in finding out how I can reach the office. But by then, when I went to my property, the property was already cleared. So that's what I presented at the first time. The additional information I have today is that I did, after the noncompliance, I did another change of address, mailing address, dated 9/22/09 in packet number 1. And in packet number 3, I have proof that they continue to send my mail to the old address, because the mail is dated 7/14/2010 with the non-compliance fee. And again, I printed the whole envelope, but on the front of the envelope, I have the original. But on the front, the first copy, that's the front of the envelope, and on the bottom, it shows the mailing address went to the old property again. So the bottom line is, I'm not receiving my mail. Even though they said it was never returned, I never received it. I'm proposing to pay the trees, but not the penalties.
Here's the problem. As I explained earlier, before we began, the county records don't always keep up with real time. They're usually many, many months late.
But the first one was done when I moved, I moved in July of 2007.
But you don't have a record of that, just this one, recent one.
Well, that's the second one. I don't have the record of the first one because I did it over the phone back then. Because the reason I did it then was because I didn't get my property tax bill.
Yeah.
And I realized I didn't get it, so I called them and they did a change.
Are you getting your property tax bill now at the new address?
Yes, now I do, yeah.
Do you have a copy of that in here?
Of my property tax bill? No.
Well, that would show us that you're getting your mail at that address.
Well,
Because see, we go off that record. We
Pardon me?
use that record for mailing addresses. The
I can
county gives us
provide
the
it.
addresses. So if you say you're getting your property tax bill at your new address, then the question is, why is the fire department getting it at an old address? That would be my concern.
And I even made a phone call to Van Nuys, spoke with Inspector Sesma, who went in the computer, and he did see the correct, this is after everything was happening, the correct mailing address was my new address. Yet on July.
Do you have
I
somebody
received
check this
another
out
one.
in the system real quick? We'll hold this.
Sure, we can have somebody look and see when the...
See what the address is now.
Address change. We currently have the address now of 10744 Eaton Avenue in
That's
Chatsworth.
correct. But yes,
That's
That's
correct.
the new address does
The new address does reflect in our system.
does reflect it now. It didn't at the time.
But at the time of
Yeah.
contract,
at the time it
no.
wasn't. But on packet number 3, on 7/14, which is 2 weeks ago, I'm still receiving mail that went to Castle Bay, which I already did all the paperwork for the mail to come to me.
But now it shows it changed.
Yeah, currently we have it at the new address.
So in the interim time, it's changed,
Yeah.
which is normal. Like I said, it's 6 to 9 months. Usually these records trail. So
But
if you put
I
it in
confirmed,
if you put it in 9 of 09, it coming through in July of this year is not abnormal. It takes them that long.
So you're saying between 7/14 and 8/2, it's changed?
Evidently, because they're now showing the new address in their
I
records.
just think it's an oversight that because before.
It's not an
this-
oversight, ma'am. We use the county records.
Okay, on May
On the
17th.
day we send out notices, we use the county records. That's the address we have.
I just want to share this.
Okay.
On May 17, 2010, I have received mail regarding this matter at my proper address, May of 17th. Yet, on July 10th, they ended up sending a notice back, not a notice, the non-compliance fee back to Castle Bay. So there's no consistency in the mailing.
I think I know what it is, but go ahead, Captain.
Yeah, the address that we show here is still Eaton Avenue as the mailing address that's on record. I don't know what mailing you're referring to that you're still getting on Castle Bay. But however, as a reminder, we serve the property owner in two ways, and that's by mailing, by U.S. mail, the address that's on record with the county assessors, and we physically post the property that where the hazard exists. That way, there is no
She's saying she has a tenant in there, and the tenant didn't notify her, so I understand that. That's a bad tenant.
And there was a change of tenants between May and June 16th?
You won that point, I understand that. The difference is the department was probably going off the original notice, which showed the wrong address.
Correct.
You now got the new address, so you've responded to that new address, but the follow-up notice would have gone to the original address of the citation.
Correct. Correct.
So, you've got a problem that your tenant should have been more diligent, and it's cost you money. The department uses county records. We have no control over that. So that, at the time that we sent this out, that's who was there. Today, now we know you've got a new address. So it won't happen in the future, but for this one instance, that wasn't our fault.
It wasn't,
It wasn't the city's fault.
but it's not my fault either.
Well, if you lived there all those years, you should have known you had to do that property.
I did, well, in my first presentation, I thought I only had to give you additional information.
Okay.
In my first meeting in Van Nuys, I had a receipt of $1,800 clearing right after the fires. Then in May, and two professionals, I would say, told me, I told them only get rid of the trees that are dead. If they're going to come back, I don't want to replant them. The first company that removed a lot of trees and did clearance said to me, keep those, they have a chance of coming back. And May 19th, I have another, this was a gardener on May 19th, again clearing up. His assessment was the same thing. They probably will come back.
Okay, so these are trees that were burned in the fire.
Yeah.
And the department was saying you needed to remove them because they're dead?
The department, said they are
Yeah.
dead, they need to be removed, although two professionals told me
Okay.
some were removed, but those were able to come back.
Yeah, that sounds accurate with our information, is that any dead trees or the property owner to remove. I'm just inquiring what year we're talking, though, that you did this.
The $1,800 clearance, which I provided in the first hearing, was done in, hold on, I have it here. Oh, it's in the packet number 1, actually. Packet number 1, page 3, was done, well, I paid him on 11/24/08. So that was after the fires. I had a major cleanup done.
Yeah.
And then...
That was in 2008.
Right, so that was after the fires. But then May...
This notice, this is just
No.
the prior history with the...
The bill I
This
got
was
here is
prior to the
2009. May.
I know that, yeah. No, there was a fire.
Yeah, I remember.
And there was, it scared me. So I called the tree service, Rigo Tree Service, and I said, do whatever has to be done to be in compliance. And he did a lot of, it was not just what I got cited for, obviously. It was like cutting back trees, getting rid of trees that were close to the property. This was all before a citation. On May 19th, my gardener, I told him again to clean my slope. And this is where I got cited, was the slope.
This is just her history of her property.
I get this.
On May 19th, the gardener cleaned the slope. My instructions to him was, please only get rid of whatever is dead.
Yeah.
If it can come back, I don't want to
This
buy
is
new
remove dead
trees.
trees on the bill.
And he assessed then that those trees have a chance of coming back, I'll leave them. Those were the trees I was cited for and got removed.
Sounds to me like she tried to comply. Her gardener's saying they're not dead trees, you're saying they are.
Yeah. The fire department, if we go out there and we determine them to be a hazard, dead trees, or even if they're live trees, if they are a hazard and they're not maintained, we will go forward in issuing a notice of violation. I just want to add to the point, too, that normally we do get the same type of situation where the property owner moves and there's a long lapse in getting their
Yeah.
mail forwarded.
That's not an issue to me.
Okay.
Okay, you lose on that point. What I want to make sure that, it appears she's trying to comply, and Hertz Gardner is saying those aren't dead trees, they will come back, and they do come back. Certain trees do
Yes.
come back.
Correct.
You're saying they won't. So, I'm more in tune to listen to a gardener who knows trees than I am a firefighter, but have you got pictures of the trees that you had removed?
Our pictures are located at our office in Van Nuys.
Have them here tomorrow.
Okay?
Yeah. We'll hold this one, we'll move this forward. I want to hear this tomorrow. I want to see the pictures. Okay?
Can you also tell us what kind of trees they are? The type of trees?
If that's in the record, I'll be revealed.
Does that mean I have to be here tomorrow?
It'd be advisable, but one way or the other, we're going to ask that question tomorrow. And if they show us evidence that says these are dead trees and there's no question about it, I'm going to say your gardener made a mistake.
They were black partial?
Yeah.
They were burnt, but
There's a lot of trees up there that are black partial that are
they
coming back to
removed
life.
everything that they felt
Yeah.
was
Are
dead,
there-
and those were left based on my instructions.
Yeah,
Don't cut
I
down
get that. I
something
see that. Okay, you don't have to sell me on that. I see that. That's why I'm asking the question. And I know lots of the trees in that neighborhood are coming back to life now. So I just want to see evidence tomorrow that these are truly dead trees. They're not coming back to life. There's no evidence that they were going to be green again. And that's what I want to see tomorrow. Okay? Next item would be,
In clarification for the record, it will be tomorrow at City Council at 10 a.m.
third floor.
Which will be on the
Here,
third floor.
At what time?
10
10
a.m.
a.m.
is when the City Council meeting starts.
I should be here,
Room 340, not...
because I'm also a single mom on straight commission.
Ma'am, you don't have to be here. I will ask the questions. But if the department shows me evidence that they are dead trees, we're going to sustain it. If I question the department's judgment, then I may ask them to waive the fees. We'll wait till tomorrow on that. And Captain, if you look at those pictures and you determine, maybe they should have been left, I'd appreciate you telling me that.
Absolutely.
All right? All right.
Thank you.
Gasparin, Vardanj, Rose Gasparin, going once, going twice. Victor Diaz, going once, going twice. Martha, B-A-M-O-N, on Division. You see that? Anybody named Martha here? All right. Dia Al-Wardi?
It's A-L-W-A-R-D-I.
Hold on a minute while we find the case.
Page 394.
390.
All right, sir.
A-L-W-A-R-D-I, first name D-H-I-A, assessor number 5562-0060110. I mean, 10, I'm sorry, 10. We own the property, 19.3 acres, for 13 years. We used one contractor, but in 2009, we used another one. We had a citation for non-compliance, and I sent him back for the address that is listed, which is 2157 Stanley Hills Drive, and I pay him $600 as my check number 256 on September 28th. I didn't go, actually it's my fault, I didn't go and look at it after he cleared it. The next thing I knew is that earlier this year we received assessment of $13,656. The property we're talking about, there's no major trees, just less than an acre of shrubs and grass, and that's the issue. And I think it's way off. I mean,
How much did you pay in the past? How much have you paid in the past to clean it?
How much? We pay them $5,000
$5,000.
for the whole thing, for the whole property. And this year, we have a clearance for the property, and we have the compliance and everything, the same amount, the same thing. So we receive this much of assessment. It's just doesn't make sense.
Okay, the subject property is a vacant lot near Stanley Hills Drive. It's approximately a little over 19 acres. The property was inspected on May the 19th of 2009. It's cited for noncompliance. This property borders at least 30 different homes on several different streets. So he was cited for brush clearance to provide clearance for those 30 homes, and also for roadside clearance. The property was re-inspected on July the 30th, and it was still in noncompliance. Therefore, the fire department went forward and contracted the property and was completed on September the 26th of 2009. The notice that he had received and was issued to Mr. Atwardi actually mentions there that you need to clean 200 feet for structures from 8601 and 8605 Empyrean and several other addresses that it needed to clear for along that property. No action was taken on that, so therefore the fire department went forward and brought the property into compliance and abated the hazard.
Did he say many structures?
Sorry?
Many structures? You remove many structures?
No. Your property is bordered along at least 30 different structures for several streets, Lookout Mountain, Stanley Hills, Appian Way, and Upper Crest. And we issued that information to you on the second notice of the addresses that it encroached upon, and no action was taken on those properties, and therefore we took action and abated the hazard.
I'm sorry. But the non-compliance was this address, which is 2157 Stanley Hills, and that's what the non-compliance part, not the whole parcel.
No, it's the whole parcel, sir.
No, there's so many addresses in here, not one. There's 20 homes involved, and what we are cited for is only this place, this 2157 Stanley Hills Drive. Not the 20 homes. There's on Stanley, there is on Upper Crest, Lower Crest, and Lookout Mountain. There's so many homes. The address that we were cited for is specifically stated in here, which is 2157 Stanley Hills Drive. Because each year we do the same thing over and over. This year we did the same thing. I mean, we passed and we paid the same amount. I mean, it's just hard to believe the number. I really was shocked to see that. I thought 1,360, but 13,000, I mean, how big is the area that we're talking about?
2157 is the address that is used by the county assessor to identify the vacant lot. The vacant lot does not have an address. So to 2157, that's why it's identified as the vacant lot west of 2157 Stanley Hills Drive. However, that parcel, as you can see, has 19 acres. It encroaches upon well over 30 homes. And that's where the notice was indicating on the bottom there, those addresses.
How big is the area that we cleared? I just want to know that. Very simple question. How big is the area, was any trees removed or anything? How big is the whole total area?
The package is available for him to review, at the hearing. He saw the package, and the hearing officer declined.
So you've had that question answered already?
I want to know really how big is the area that would...
They said that you've already asked that question, it was answered at the hearing.
We still have the photos here. He can review them at a later time.
Yeah. My own estimate is less than an acre. By any imagination, less than an acre. No trees, nothing involved.
So just for the record, you were at the hearing? Were you at the hearing?
In Van Nuys on July 14?
Yes.
Yeah, I told them.
Okay, no, just this one.
I'm sorry.
So you were at the hearing. The captain is saying is that at the hearing they showed you pictures of what was cleared. the work that was done, that question was already answered.
It was less than an acre.
And you're saying, Captain, 5 acres?
Well, the property itself is 19 acres.
19 acres.
But it encroaches upon 30 different homes.
So you had to
We
clear from
clear
200
all the
feet
way
from
around-
30 homes.
All around that property.
So it was
All
really
around the
30
perimeter.
different little projects.
Correct.
What they show me, and I mentioned one spot that really doesn't belong to us. When you go in one of those streets, we call it Appian Way, on the right-hand side is not ours. Just the road is ours. And I told them, the whole area is less than an acre.
Do you own
They
the
told me.
19 acres?
Yes.
And they cleared portions of that 200 feet from each of the 30 different homes that encroach on your property?
The area that we're talking about, they cleaned, they show me the picture, is less than an acre, the whole thing.
Okay. Move the assessment. Okay. Go forward. Next case will be Linda Bright.
That's been handled.
That's been handled.
Okay, good. Darren Johnston.
That has also been handled.
Mirzian, or Era Mirzian.
Thank you. 2404?
To deny your appeal.
2404-002-005.
Approve the assessment.
005. Pretty sure it's... Should we start?
Just 1 second. Can we see a paper? Page 108.
All right, sir.
All right. Good morning.
So what's the page?
Excuse us,
Yes.
the page number?
Oh, page 108.
Thank you.
I'll keep it short and brief. This is a property that we've owned for 30 years. It's a vacant lot, about 20 acres in Sun Valley. It does not have a particular property address. We have been clearing the brush for the past 30 years. There used to be an Inspector Woods. He would meet me down there. He would validate our cleaning and so forth. And I've submitted copies of the work that we did last year, which happens to be what we were cited for. But then I noticed that the address listed on the citing is 8756, which is not bordering our property whatsoever. Our property actually borders 8576. And in one of the aerial photographs, I show where our property is. The map doesn't come out very good on the copy, but the property written up is not bordering our property. So we did our work. I don't know what the miscommunication is here.
Okay, did you present this at the hearing in Vanderbilt?
I was out of town. I could not. I called. They said, just come to this hearing. So
Very good.
Yeah, he was not in attendance at the hearing. He just submitted some information in writing. That information was reviewed. We looked at the fire department record. It indicates it says the vacant lot north, and that's just how it's identified by the county assessor's office. So that gives us an indication of where the property is. We utilize parcel maps that are provided by the county assessor's office to identify where property lines are and boundaries are. We use our best estimates and where those property lines are. If a property owner disputes that, they must provide proof by seeking a licensed surveyor to provide and submit that to us. We review that, and then we'll go forward with what those dimensions are. According to our record, the property was inspected based on the dimensions that we were given by the county assessor's office. But the property was inspected on May the 14th. Violations were found. An issue of notice of noncompliance was sent to the property owner. No action was done. We sent a second notice of noncompliance, and the property still remained in noncompliance, and therefore we went forward and we cleared the property. There are photos that indicate the condition of the property was before, during, and after the clearance. They are on file at our office. Therefore, fire department went forward, and the assessment came to $30,826, $2,800 for the cost of the clearance.
Okay, Ms. Mizarian, did you receive those notifications?
I did, we
Overton?
receive, yes, every year we receive those notifications. I have a contractor or landscaper who's been cleaning it for the last 5 years, 6 years.
So
I give him the paperwork, he goes there, he
So
clears
there's
it.
no question that the address is wrong.
The address is
Department-
wrong, correct.
The department says they mailed them, you said you didn't get them.
No, I did get them. I got the notices and everything, and as I get them, I give it to my contractor, he goes and cleans it. It's a property that I know, it's an easement, you have to go through somebody's property, 8576. My guy goes in there and clean them, but the fire department has 8756 as the property address, and our property does not border 8756. I have the maps, I have a file about this.
So
They
you
come-
say you clean your property?
I clean my property. Here's the receipts, the pictures and so forth.
Okay.
And the property that in the past 28 years I was supposed to clean was 8576. I would meet with the fire inspector, who would walk me up the driveway and say, you need to clean this. Every year I go do that. It's 8576 is the house that's bordering our property.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to stay afterward, Captain, if you meet with Matt, match your pictures up, see if you did the right
Sure.
properties, and we'll deal with that one tomorrow then.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Next case, Idian Vazgen, V-A-Z-G-E-N.
I'm going to need your
Get your
Good morning, I am...
Just a second. Let's find it.
page 101.
Good morning, I'm Leo Pashan. I'm representing my uncle, Wasdan, and he's denying the brush cleaning assessment, and there are 3 points he's mentioning. The first is he bought the house in 2008, and before that, the previous owner never did cleaning for the land and never received anything. And at the first day, he mentioned the area which he cleaned every year, and after receiving the first notice, my uncle cleaned the same area, but he received the second notice. So he tried and find a gardener and clean the required area, but unfortunately the gardener has a problem and he stopped the work for a week. And then the contractor and his team came up and cleaned the area. And the work they did wasn't enough. There are some pictures before the gardener cleaning which shows the dead material that contractor team left behind and didn't clean the land. The gardener cleaned the area, and we have a invoice that he took 15 loads of trash to dump the material, and there's a map from Google which taken in 2009 which shows the difference between 2008 and 2009 picture, and it's pretty big land, and I'm sure there's so many work have been done there. And that's it.
I could have barely heard you there a couple times. Are you saying that the contractor that the fire department hired left some stuff there that your contractor had to go back out and clear? Is that what you
Yeah.
said? Okay. All right.
And he's telling he was there.
My dad called me. I go that day. Three guy, Spanish guy work there. I say, who is sending you? He say, I come, my contractor. The contractor, LA Fire Department hired the contractor. I am employee for coming here. He said, okay, you're working because the first year that day. And he said, working at this. I said, why are you going? He said, that's okay. Only for trim, some tree, and nothing. For trash, take it out my lot for put on the car. He say, my contractor say only for trim and the picture, that's okay for the LA Fire Department. I say, okay, because I never, the first time that problem. I dare never, nothing take it for my property, for trash. But
How much did it cost you to have the stuff removed that they didn't take?
3,000, 15
3,000?
load, yes, 15 load, the contractor, very big lot, but this never grew up 1 year. Never, but I got that, one month before, I got that fire department one night. I showed the picture, the zoning, and he said, what have a problem for that, what is the law? He said 7 years, this law for 200 feet clean it. He said, okay, you see, you look at this picture. You think for this 7 years, 1 year, this grew up this area, lot of area? He said, I don't know, but he said, my very big question is for why you know before I buy, because I buy for 2008. Why you know push that an owner for clean that area? My big question that, and I got that day 300 pay for the contract. They could never see for the Spectre Orona.
Is this picture here, the after picture that you show, the pickup truck, is that the guy that cleaned?
My contractor.
And he cleaned up that pile and he charged you $3,000 for that?
No. This you have a three big one that, two big trash for the white color.
It take 15 load of that truck.
15 pickup trucks.
This truck and another bigger.
All the three.
How many loads were taken?
Whoever's telephone's ringing, would you please turn that thing off?
Voice if you need to see it.
Yeah, I don't see 15 loads sitting here. What I see is 2, maybe 3. Please turn that phone off. Okay, what I see is 2 or 3 loads.
I have the invoice if you need to.
Well, anybody can write an invoice, you know. Realistically, the picture you're showing me is not.
I mean,
I'm sorry, it's just, that's
seeing
not.
the picture and the land, it's quite a big land, and I don't think it take just 2 load of truck. They cut the trees, bring it in the front yard, and they took it time by time, and they load 2 truck, dump the trash, come back and load it again.
Okay.
All right. The fire department record reflects that some work had been done by the appellant. However, the property still remained in noncompliance. The work that was done by the appellant still was not sufficient to meet the code. The fire department went forward since more notices, also posted the property that we would be out there within the next 2 weeks to abate the hazard, and no work had been done beyond that. Fire department went forward and abated the hazard, and at the cost of the clearance of $500, with the administrative fee brought it to $1,612. As regards to what the appellant is stating, that he had to clear or pick up left debris by the contractor, there is a process that the fire department goes through in order to sign off a package. And that would be that there is no cut vegetation that should be left there, any bags, logs, or anything. Otherwise, that contractor does not get paid by the fire department. That should have been signed off by an inspector, and if there was cut material left there by our contractor, that contractor will be dealt with and could ultimately be suspended from the program.
What's the date of your receipt from your contractor?
It's October 9th.
October 9th?
Yeah.
And when did you get a sign-off on it?
The property was actually cleared and signed off. Zemus.
This is after
September 14th, I'm sorry. And September 14th, the department inspector, yeah, September 14th.
Yeah, so on September 14th, that pile didn't exist there.
This is after, this is the invoice after job being done. And that pile is not just the pile that the contractor left, but also the trees and the bushes that the contractor didn't cut.
I need to make a correction. Actually, the city contract and the work was completed November the 5th, 2009. Correction. November 5th.
Okay, so he's got a receipt showing that the place was cleaned up on before October 9th. And you're saying in November, you certified that the job was done.
Correct.
So he may have had to go back and clean up after your contractor. And there's no way of knowing because your inspector got there after he cleaned it up.
Correct.
Okay, I think you got a problem. You need to check out with that contractor. We have no way of verifying it, but it appears that
If there's a picture that the contractor took, because we received a mail telling that the contractor took some picture that is very similar to our picture. If there's a picture, you can see.
A part of the process is that the contractor is to submit to us photos of what the property looked like before you stepped on it. We want to show photographs of the contractors actually working on it and what it looked like when you stepped off.
So like the previous case, that's not here?
That's not here. We'll have to look at the file.
Add that to the list of ones. We want to see those by tomorrow. And would you please talk to them if they can give you pictures that shows that, according to the contractor, it was gone, then I'll have to accept that as the case. But if they can't show us pictures, then we'll deal with that tomorrow. All right?
He's just mentioning that in the map, it's like that trees and the bushes were obviously not grown up in just 1 year. And the question he's asking is, why didn't department push or notice the previous owner for cutting the trees? Or
We'd have to look at the record, and that doesn't mean that property owner wasn't cited in previous years. That we just didn't get to it. But I'd have to look at the record and see if it was.
And that's just strictly your verbal testimony. What some other person told you, that doesn't count. So, all right. Ronald Pryor.
Thank you.
Need your APN number, sir. Page 356.
Sure. 356?
Yes, 356.
All right, sir.
Yes, my name is Ronald Pryor, and it's in reference to the clearance of 2009. Package number 2009176017.
Go ahead.
Okay. And I did try to comply with the clearance on this property. I did have some remaining bags left on the property, as I found out through a second notice from the fire department. I had contacted the Department of Public Works, and they told me they would remove these bags. This was June the 9th, and when I got the second notice that it was in non-compliance, and that's when I called the sanitation department again, and they told me that they could not remove these bags because that there was a vehicle parked at the end of the roadway. And so I really don't have much to add to this. I mean, like I said, I tried to do the best I could to have those bags removed, because I know how it is to have brush fires. I work with the fire department, assisting them, retired from the police department in 23 years. So I know these weeds and stuff like that can be very hazardous, but I'm just asking that committee would actually look at this and see, this is on the record, and I do have a confirmation number that I did try to comply.
You have a sanitation confirmation number?
Yes, I do.
Captain, was this just a removal of the bags, or was there actually brush removal done?
Yes, it was a removal of bags, according to the code. Any even cut vegetation, whether it be bagged or unbagged, it can still pose a hazard.
Okay.
He was cited for that. Mr. Pryor did exercise good faith. This is exactly the same appeal that he has given at the hearing. The hearing officer weighed in partial favor that he was trying to work in good faith, and therefore waived his entire administrative fee and left the cost of the clearance, because our contractors were able to get back there and remove those bags. So the cost of the clearance is the full assessment to Mr. Pryor of $100.
I was going to recommend the same thing. Ms. Pryor, is that okay?
Yes,
That would
sir.
be $100.
Yes.
Okay, that would be the case. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Levon Tebalakian.
You'll get the bill from the fire department.
Levon. One second.
Just 1 second. I have to put in. Page 276.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
So last week when we were here again, the Zymus map I introduced to both the council members and to the fire commission, and the problem is the sliver of land adjacent to my property. Yeah, if you were to take a look at that, is not in our property. It doesn't belong to us. It has not. It's never been. There's never been an easement regarding that property to be connected to our existing land or whatnot. So what was done during the week from the fire commission, they called and they faxed me over the second Cumberland tract, the printout behind the Zymus map that allegedly shows that there was an easement done that made that sliver of land part of our land. But if you're to look at the measurements on both the maps, it's the same exact map showing that there's no easement that requires us to take care of that piece of land.
So it's on the backside of the property?
Correct. Now, I brought the vicinity map and the survey map to illustrate the same measurements that have been there since 1988, which they said was an easement that was done to our property sometime in 1982, but does not exist. So, as you can see, the Sanborn, right around the Sanborn Avenue area is where it kind of curves. And they say that where it curves, that property still somehow belongs to us. But if you're to look at the property map, the vicinity map, the property line is specifically outlined that it ends right before where the work was performed.
But the trees look like they hang over from your property into...
That's not all, that's not on my property, that's
Okay.
the other property. That tree, the tree in the back of the building is off my property line that hangs onto my property.
Hangs over.
Hangs over.
Right, but that's, the point is, mostly, well, 90% of the work was conducted off my property on the adjacent property to my property. The only thing that was done on my property was the cutting of the tree.
How many trees?
Just one.
Just one.
Right.
So the argument is the one tree?
Right,
Is
that was
this
the only thing performed
middle
on
one?
my property.
The one in the middle?
Correct, that all hangs over the thing.
So you're saying the root system lies on the other property?
Correct. And there was pictures that I showed during the hearing that illustrates that.
Yeah, and that's correct. The tree is actually on the other property, but it overhangs onto the property of the apartment building there. But the property owner, who is actually encroached upon, has the right to go ahead and cut that tree. Anything that's encroached on his property, he's required to maintain. The adjacent property owner can't just cross and jump over his fence and start trimming his tree. Also, the portion that was also done was along...
Wait, so the property owner next door owns the tree?
Correct.
It goes into his property line. He has the right to trim it.
Correct.
If he wants to.
Correct.
But the responsibility should lie with the other guy unless he forbids them entrance to the property.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. I
And
apologize.
besides the tree, 90% of the property was not even done. That was like 10% of the cleaning. The 9% that I'm arguing against or disputing is the fact that it was done on that sliver of land adjacent to my building, to that property, and which the fire commission says belongs to me. There has been an easement done. That was their word to me when they faxed me and they called me during the week. But if you look at my property map, the vicinity map, no such easement exists. And I had to go through all the records.
Well, the easement goes to the center of the road
Correct.
normally.
Correct. That
Yeah,
is
Not
a,
always, but normally.
that is a part of
There's no such
Sanborn
easement.
Avenue.
There's no such easement. We don't have such easement regarding that. It's never been publicly addressed, never been done. We have no records of that
No.
easement belonging to us.
Just the way the law is. Just the way it breaks out.
So, anyway, did the property owner in the back ever ask you for permission into the land to clean it?
No.
Was the property owner in the back cited for the tree?
No.
Okay. What portion is on this bill is for the easement side of it?
The appellant is correct. I think there may be some confusion. It's not an easement. This is Sanborn Avenue. And that portion that's abutting next to his property there is Sanborn.
Yep.
And he is required to clear to the center of the road. The center of the road is that dotted line there that's in the center.
Right.
And there must be some confusion on him understanding that
Okay, so
that's up to the curb line.
So we're not, the tree was not trimmed as part of this bill?
I'm sorry?
The tree in the back was not part of this bill?
The tree in the back was part of this bill. That's correct.
So we got two issues. One is the Sanborn side of the property and one's the tree side.
Correct.
Okay, how much of the cleaning was the Sanborn side?
Just a second here. It looks like an estimate of around 25% of the cost was for that tree.
For the tree?
Yes.
Okay, so $110. Okay, did you do any effort at all to clean either one, or did you just say, hey, this isn't my
No,
problem?
Well, the problem was when this happened, I was out of the country. So when I got back September 8th, and I believe the cleaning was done somewhere around September 16th or so of 2009, I wasn't able to do the cleaning. But as I said during the hearing, we're willing to pay the cost of the cleaning the tree, which was like about $300 or whatnot. But the whole assessment fee regarding the land right next to my land that does not belong to us, and I went through a lot of...
It is your responsibility.
No, it's not. Because
Yes,
the
it is.
professionals said, if it's not on your property line, as a cognizant human being, that does not, you would not want to touch anything that's not on your property. And the property line clearly is stated that my property ends right before that.
I mean, if you look at this map, it's clearly, this is an easement that attaches to your property. Now, in a rare case, they don't.
It's definitely not attached.
So yours, I can't imagine the city having approved zero setbacks. That would have never, I mean, this is the planning chair. That just isn't likely, and it doesn't show that on this map either.
Correct. So there is no.
So there is an easement.
No, there isn't. On that, can you show me on that?
Right here, there's land. You're showing zero, absolute zero setbacks on this map here, but not on this map here, not on this. It shows setbacks. Okay? Meaning you're responsible for that area.
Can you show me where the setbacks are?
The space between the building here and the property line.
Okay,
The
so
property line and your building there's a gap there. And in your picture, you don't show it though.
So my recommendation would be, Mr. Reyes, that we waive $110 of the $440 of the clearance, because that is the neighbor's responsibility, and he had the ability to do it unless he denied it, which we don't know one way or the other, but that the assessment and the remaining $330 go forward.
Right. So we are acknowledging your argument on one side, but not on the other.
But what is a setback? Because I'm really moved.
Well, you can look at your map, you can have one of the planners or someone break that down for you. But on your map and your pictures are two different images.
They don't match up.
Well, that's what I got from Zymus, right? Correct? That's what the fire department...
That's why you need to take it to the planner and figure out why the difference.
Take the Public Works counter downstairs, what are they, third floor? Third floor Public Works counter. Ask them to clarify for you where your easement responsibilities are. But you do have an easement responsibility. So you're clear on the ruling is $110 of the $440 will be waived?
You're reducing the clearance fee by $110 and the full admin fee remains? Thank you, sir.
Okay, that ends the appellant process today. Item number 1 is done. We have one public comment, Dr. Clyde Williams. If it's on an item that's not on today's agenda.
Do we have any other brush clearance?
Dr. Williams, on any item that's not on today's agenda, that includes lot clearance.
Dr. Clyde Williams, 4115 Bear Road, El Sereno, Northeast LA. The whole system of brush clearance.
Okay, that was on the item today, sir.
That was item number 1, but that was also for 2009-10. This is for now and for next year.
Okay.
Well,
I'll give you that. Go ahead.
There's a fee increase coming also.
Yeah.
And the whole system, this last year, notices were sent out. People paid $13, even though they did not have an invoice, because they did not understand what the requirements were. We tried to get telephone calls into brush clearance. No problem. No answer. No references. No contact. And many of the neighborhood councils have taken up this issue. And it's really a problem that the procedures aren't clearly stated in simple English. If you're going to send an invoice, send an invoice. They received $13 without invoices. Well, why? Because the first notice went out stating that if you did your own self-clearance, hey, that's fine, except that you had to have a whole bunch of things and people got confused. So it's a problem as to informing the public as to what their commitments are, and then consistency and presentation to them. Now they want to change it from $13 to $23. Well, that involves about 10, 20 minutes of one inspector's fully loaded time. It doesn't seem to be a worthwhile charge. Maybe they're just doing a bait and switch. Get the fees started at a low level and then start raising them.
Okay, you're talking about fees, that's not in the jurisdiction of this committee. Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
On an item not on today's agenda.
What?
You can't talk about your case. We've already dealt
I'm
with that.
reading. Nobody in the city government has legal authority to impose an administrative fee. Liability for nuisance does not hinge on whether the defendant owns, possesses, or controls the property, nor on whether he is in a position to abate the nuisance. The critical question is whether the defendant created or assisted in the creation of the nuisance. That was 2006, County of Santa Clara v. Atlantic Richfield Company. Now, do you want to hear more on nuisance, I have
You've
to.
got a minute left, you can speak all you want.
According to California law, civil action may be brought in the name of the people of the state of California to abate a public nuisance. Although California's general nuisance statute expressly permits the recovery of damages in a private nuisance action brought by a specially injured party, it does not create a damage remedy. In actions brought, a damage remedy in actions brought on behalf of the people to abate a public nuisance. That is People v. Vandekamp v. American Art Enterprises 83. The plaintiffs in a representative public nuisance action may not avoid this rule by seeking damages in the form of cost of abatement. County of Santa Clara again. The general provision permitting government entitles to abate public nuisance has been squarely held not to authorize the government to recover the cost of abatement. I'll be here tomorrow at 10.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes today's meeting. Thank you very much. Captain, we have
Only because of like my relative act of like.
Thank you, Janet.
Well, how about you?
Well, thanks. I'm Doug Tripp.
My name is Chris Martin.
Oh, Chris, nice to meet you. This is John Deering.
I already done
Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson. You're not in this property?
I'm not interning.
But this number, that's just an identical.
This is the only area that, and I always check it, I don't know if whoever went there inspected it, because I know it's not inspected, was it? But this is not a problem, it just doesn't matter. But I don't even order this thing.
You got your,
It is,
you got your.
should I, where should I go?
I mean, this.